loading, unloading, and clearing.
Okay.
Sounds stupid, right? Sounds like everyone knows how to load, everyone knows how to unload. That is where accidents happen. And it's not the guys that are just starting out. It could be to the most advanced guy out there. They get complacent, they unload improperly, and then they don't clear. Put the gun away, and 2 weeks later bring it back out, think it's unloaded, and reckon that's when ADs or NDs happen. So incorporating the immediate action drill with loading, unloading, very simple. The immediate action drill is an absolute life-saving drill that no one practices. Anytime that you're gonna do any kind of dry fire, you have to incorporate the immediate action drill, all right? Because it's a very, very bad feeling when you're going boom, boom, boom at a bad guy and all of a sudden you hear click, all right? So you wanna have that muscle memory of when you do hear click, immediately going into your immediate action drill without thinking, all right? Get your gun back into operation. So we're gonna do this, we'll just do it 10 times since we're out here by ourselves.
Sure.
To give you the feeling, know how to do it. It's something you have to actually practice all the time. Because like I said, very bad feeling when it goes click and your life depends on it. So we're gonna load up. This will be part of the drill. You know, chamber around. All right, so both of us locked and loaded with 5 dummy rounds. How the drill would work, you'd load just like we did. Then from there, you're bringing the gun up to do your immediate action drill. Just pick a target, doesn't matter which one you are. You do want to get your red dot on target. So when you're doing your immediate action drill, you're trying to get that gun to stay up on target to when you're done with your immediate action drill and you get back in the gun, that red dot is pretty much on the target that you were shooting at before.
Okay.
All right. So if you do your immediate action drill way down here and then get it back into operation, now I have to cover this distance to bring the gun up. It's wasted time, I'm not being efficient, right?
Okay.
If I can keep the gun up here, do all my work here, and then go back in the gun, I'm pretty much on target, right? So I'm being more efficient, I'm being faster, I can engage a lot faster. So that's really the importance of this drill. It's kind of like when we get into mag changes, it'll be the same thing. Gun stays up on target to be more efficient. All right, so the immediate action drill, all it is bring the gun up on fire, you pretend you're shooting, boom, 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 and then you actually pull the trigger. You hear click. First thing you do as you're turning the gun to the side to slap the magazine, you should be trying to put this gun on safe. Obviously the gun didn't cycle, so it's not gonna do it. But from there, you try to put it on safe, left hand comes off, slap, charging handle, pull, release, back on target, boom, boom, boom. All right, and then from there we have 5 rounds. I want you to get back on target, pull the trigger again, on safe, try to, slap, pull, back on target. On safe, slap, pull, back on target. All right, that's all the drill is. Usually on the range, when you see people that haven't practiced this, it looks like this. Boom, boom, boom. They hear click, and then what you see on the range is, and they ask for help, all right? That is not your response you wanna have when you hear click, all right? Even though you're on the range, you wanna get that muscle memory, that trained response, to do something to get your gun back in operation, all right? So even if you're at your house dry firing or when you're on the range by yourself, don't get that range-itis of just dropping the gun and saying, oh shoot, my gun's down.
Time out.
Get the gun back in operation, get back on target, and make that your trained response, all right? All right. So when you do it, after you do your 5 immediate action drills, the bolt's actually gonna lock to the rear, right? So all you have to do now to unload is drop magazine. You always take the source out first, right? So take magazine out. And since the bolt is locked to the rear, we don't have to do that. That last round did extract. So you're unloaded, but you are not clear. Not even close. You have to clear this gun, all right? So I call it the 3-point clear, whatever you want to call it or how you want to remember it. I could care less as long as you check these 3 points. So you're actually checking down in the chamber, make sure there's not a round stuck in there. Bring the gun up, actually look at the bolt face. All right, and then third check, stick your finger in the mag well, just to give yourself that warm and fuzzy that you actually took the magazine out. All right, because a lot of times what guys do, they do it so fast, they eject that round, they watch it come out, they release, and then they drop the magazine, and a new round just got put in the chamber.
Right.
And then they don't frickin' actually check and do their proper clearing procedure. So always, always, when you're gonna unload, magazine out first, and then 3-point check. All right? So for you, you've already loaded up. All I want you to do is come up on target, pick a target, get that red dot on there, on fire, pretend you're shooting, then actually pull the trigger. Attempt to put it on safe. Yep, keep the gun up on your shoulder, slap, pull, release, back on target. Yep, then pull the trigger, attempt to put it on safe. At the same time, your left hand's going to the magazine, slap, pull, release, back on target. Good. And same thing, pull it again, you hear click, slap, pull, back on target. Slap, pull, back on target. And what you're doing when you're slapping that magazine, all you're doing is making sure that that magazine was seated properly. All right, so that's the whole point of actually slapping it. So when you do it, you do want to get a good handful of magazine when you're slapping that sucker.
Sure.
All right. Very good with keeping the gun up on target. That is usually, besides actually getting people to get used to doing the immediate action drill, is actually getting them to keep the gun on target. So when you get done with your drill, you get back on the gun, you're pretty much there. Okay. All right. And then from there, you drop the magazine, so you're unloaded, gun should be on safe. And then, yep, and then your 3-point check, good. And now that's it. The ready up drill will almost come into play in any situation you're in, right? So if you're sitting on your butt, shooting from the knee, frickin' even shooting from your back, from a car, almost anywhere, unless you're in the prone or in a supported position, it is gonna be this. Bring the gun up, sight picture, pulling the trigger, right? No matter where you're at.
Off as you're going up.
Yeah, so as the time that you're wasting doing this, you're doing that. So most people, it'll be bring the gun up, they get sight picture, and then this, and then this. That's wasted time. You're not being efficient, right? So and that's only if you identify threat, you identify something in their hands that's gonna hurt you, that's the only time you do it. If you're bringing your gun up to scan or to frickin' say stop, and you don't see a threat in his hands, then you're keeping the gun unsafe, you're keeping your finger off the trigger. It's only if you know for a fact you are gonna engage that target. That's when the selector switch goes on fire, finger goes on the trigger. Good. That way, when you get sight picture, it can be an immediate pull the trigger, because that's what you want. I mean, everything comes down to being efficient. All right, how can you be faster than the bad guy? There should be no adjusting. There shouldn't be any adjusting of the feet, any adjusting of the buttstock on the shoulder, and no adjusting of your hand on the grip. All right. And how we're gonna run it is I'm gonna start you off, shooter ready, stand by, up. You're gonna bring it up, you're gonna take one shot. As you're coming up, you know it's a threat. So your gun's gonna be going on fire, finger's gonna be going on the trigger. So right when you get the gun up, you get sight picture, I want you to pull the trigger. All right, then from there, I want you to do it 4 more times on your own. All right, okay. So it's gonna be 5 shots in each dot. Okay. All right, but every time you shoot, 1 shot. All right. The big one to get you dialed in to where, especially for that muscle memory, because it can be a great thing and it can also bite you in the butt. All right, if you get that range-itis and get used to doing this, boom, and then automatically coming down, now you're in a stressful situation and that's your muscle memory, that's what you're gonna do. All right, so after you take that first shot, I want you to come up, boom, reacquire with your fingers still on the trigger, the gun's still on fire. Once you get that red dot back in the position ready to shoot, that's when you come down, finger off the trigger, gun goes back on safe. All right, so go ahead and lock and load that first 30 round magazine. Remember that hold off, so that red dot's gonna be up on the top part of the circle. All right, shooter ready?
Ready.
Stand by. Up. All right, a little bit higher up with that red dot. And then, yep, after you reacquire, finger comes off, gun goes back on safe, and now it's on you to do it 4 more times. Yep, keep the gun up. That's gonna be the hardest thing for you if you're not used to it.
Yeah, it
is reacquiring the target. So bring it up, take the shot. Now, there you go. Now your finger comes off and gun goes back on safe. Good. All right, 3 more, or 2 more. Keep the gun up and your finger on the trigger as if you were gonna take another shot. Good, there you go, better.
Okay, we switched over to pistol. I've been looking forward to that. You're wearing Mr. Glock 19.
Correct.
Got my XD. We've already been through the must-haves, the fundamentals. Now we're going to do some drawing and shooting.
All right, sounds good. Everything I do comes from the holster.
Yeah.
All right, I don't do the whole,
Down and up.
besides maybe 1 or 2 drills. Yes, I don't, once I come out of the holster, I'm shooting, I'm going back to the holster, all right? If you do find yourself like this, at the target or at the frickin' Azul position or whatever they frickin' call it, that's fine. Now, at the point, if you're like this or like this, and you're gonna turn and talk to someone, it's back to the holster. It's not like the rifle.
Do I have to look left, right, left really fast?
No.
Okay,
But,
thanks.
I mean, like a serious note, anything you do, if you're not shooting or actually standing there with the gun pointing at the target or down in front of you, it goes back in the holster. There is really no correct way to do a draw, right? It's what works for you, what gets you on target the fastest, okay? What I would say, what not to do is get into a holster, a draw stroke of your own and have it be a step-by-step process.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Yes,
5, 6,
so
7.
if you're gonna do, or if you're not gonna do something, that's what I would say not to do. Don't get in the habit of being a 1, 2, 3, or 4 step. All right, it's one fluid motion. Okay. As we come out, when it comes to shooting fast, it's everything leading up to the shot that you're saving time on. All right.
Okay.
You're not coming to target slow and then pulling the trigger as fast as you can. That's not going to be faster. It's everything leading up to the shot. So coming out of the holster. First thing, most important thing is getting a good grip of your pistol, all right? So if I come from here, from the surrender position or just hand straight down, and I come to the gun super fast and get a crappy grip, pull it out, and there's an actual threat there, that's how I'm gonna be shooting my gun, all right? So first thing first, getting a good grip on the pistol. So you can come to the pistol fast. When you get to the grip, if you don't have a solid, strong grip, make sure you have it before coming out of the holster. All right, so it can be blazing fast to the gun, slow it down to get that good grip. Once you have that good grip, it's blazing fast again to target. All right, this is where that whole don't do the step process thing, because it'll ultimately make you slower. So if I come out 1, 2, 3, drive it out on target 4, pull the trigger. Well, if you're doing that every time, it will ultimately make you slower. All right, just coming from holster to chest, which is totally fine to do, and then driving out, I 100% guarantee you there will be a pause at your chest.
Okay.
It's not one fluid motion. So it's not wrong to come out, go to the chest and drive it, but I guarantee you there will be a slight pause here before you drive it out. So you're not being as efficient as you could be. So I like to see, come to the gun fast, slow it down for the good grip. As you get the good grip, come out of the holster fast, one shot to the target. You're being more efficient, all right? You're taking this out, okay? Doesn't seem like a long time. If you do it on the clock, you will see a definite difference, okay? It doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be Hollywood, all right? That's a bad guy. You want to shoot him before he shoots you.
Roger.
Doesn't need to be pretty. But you do have to practice it enough and get that muscle memory to where that comes out right when your arm's fully extended, you're pretty much on target. All right, because if you are off the target this much and have to bring the gun down, that's wasted time, right? So you do want to drive the gun, land it on the target. So this is basically, it's from the draw, but it really is just another ready up drill. I'm trying to get those sights to land on the target every single time, which never happens for me. But when I bring it up, I might miss the target by this much. So now all I have to adjust is an inch, all right, instead of adjusting a foot.
Right.
Okay. The other thing, coming out of the holster, come to it fast. As you're coming out, when that muzzle clears this holster, it should be driving towards the target. All right, so if I did have something a foot in front of me or something, as I come out, I could shoot. From there, muzzle's facing towards the target. Now it's just driving straight out. Hand where it meets does not matter. Doesn't have to meet here, doesn't have to meet here. This is the gun that's shooting the bad guy. So this is the gun going to target. This thing's just following. So where it meets up, it doesn't matter, right? Because you want to get this gun on target fast, okay? What I don't want to see is coming out of the holster, muzzle clears holster, and then you do this. So dragging that muzzle, because now if I meet here, my gun's pointed down, now I'm like 6 feet off the target, which now I have to take the time to bring it back up, so it's not being efficient. Same thing as you come out of the holster, as that muzzle clears, I don't want to see this, the whole Charlie's Angels thing. And then you're driving it like this, and now we have to bring the sight back down. You're not being efficient, okay? So muzzle clears the holster, it points pretty much on target. As you're driving it forward, you're trying to pick up that sight picture. Sure. I will say a lot of people do teach that. Try to pick up sight alignment, sight picture as you're driving the gun forward. From what I've seen or from what I've tested, it's faster to drive the gun somewhere on target and then pick up sight alignment, sight picture when you're there. Because this is not easy. Coming from here, doing it fast and trying to pick up sight line, sight picture. Because if you're trying to do that, you're going to be like this slow. So drive the gun to target first, get your sight alignment, sight picture when you're there. All right, see if that will work for you. All right, once the shooting's done, there's no more threat. It could take 2 minutes to put it back in the holster. All right, we're not doing a speed reholster drill. Holster? Yeah, so glad you mentioned that. I am tucked in right now. If I've been moving and I'm not sure if my shirt is untucked or not, or something is down there, absolutely. Like I said, this is not a speed reholster drill. You have all the time in the world. Why not look down, make sure nothing's actually in the holster or near it, put the gun back in. Because that is one of the biggest causes of people shooting their legs when they're reholstering. That shirt gets in between the trigger, and then when they shove it in there, bang. So yes, absolutely. If you have the time, or if you've been moving and you think it might have gotten untucked, take a look. All right. Not just like I said, out of the holster, one shot, reacquire the target, sight alignment, sight picture, then your finger comes off, you go back to holster. Yep. And then on your own, do it 4 more times. All right. Okay, shooter ready? Stand by. Up. Yep. So as you're reacquiring, which you did, but keep your finger on the trigger just like as if you were gonna take another shot.
Roger that.
All right, so on you, do it 4 more times. Fast reset right off the start, and keep that finger on the trigger. Yep, so did you see how slow it took you to reset?
Yeah.
Which most people have that bad habit. Yep, so right after that round cracks off, reset. And it is hard. It's hard if you're resetting that fast to keep the finger on the trigger, because you have a tendency of it popping off, which is fine as long as you put it back on there when you're reacquiring.
You really don't miss anything, do you?
I try not to. There you go. Good. So it popped off a little bit and then you got it back on. Yep, good. And for the draw, I would say for one, if you're shooting 3-inch dots like this, like on your own or no matter when you're shooting, if you start missing, you know,
slow it down.
Yeah, absolutely. So everything leading up to the shot, like I said, you can practice still blazing fast. But now your mind has to freaking make you stop. So even though all this is fast, slow down, well-aimed shot, boom, until you get to the point where all 5 rounds are hitting that black. Then you go to the next dot.
A little bit of pressure here, Bob.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
fucking golfing with Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah, and then you'll do another dot, get all 5 in that black, and then that's when you start speeding it up. Okay. And then you go back to where if you miss 2 or 3 out of the 5, then you go back to slowing fire again. But all this can be blazing fast. It's just hard to get your brain to stop and not pull that trigger fast.
Right.
Yep.
Awesome. Bob, thank you. That is without a doubt.
You're very welcome.
Unequivocally the best firearms instruction I've ever had. And
Oh.
I've been shooting for 40 years.
That's nice to hear.
It's fantastic. Highly recommended. I wish you and Gamut nothing but success. How do people get a hold of you?
So website's the easiest way. All the contact information's on my website, which is gamutresolutions.com.
We're going to have videos on our site, links to you, links to your site, links to all that charity work you do.
Yep.
Thanks again for coming out.
Yeah,
Thanks
you're
for your
very
service,
welcome.
brother.
Thanks for having me out.
Thanks for your service.
Yeah, thank you.